Good afternoon. This report will be about quantum optics laboratory at the Institute of Atomic Physics and Spectroscopy. Why quantum optics? I have been many years postdoc at the Institute of Quantum Optics in Garching, Germany, in Nobel Prize winner group, and it shows how important it is to have good teachers and to be able to practice in some world-known institute. Our publications, together with Professor Hensch and with Artur Matveyev, they are cited more than 100 times. And when Photonica project was funded in Latvia, I was invited to come to Latvia, and thanks to Dr. Aigar Seker's initiative, we decided to found a laboratory of quantum optics in Riga, and it's basically a small version of Munich laboratory. In the project we could buy optical frequency comb, which is seen on the right side of the picture, and stable semiconductor diode lasers seen on the left side of the picture. So far about instruments, and now about people, because laboratory is nothing without people. So in photonics project we could repatriate back to Latvia Dr. Ilya Feshchenko from Switzerland, and we have been working now 2 years together. For some period of time, 3 more people joined laboratory: Kristina Andreeva, Asparuk Markov, and Nikolai Bezuglov. They came over from Dr. Eker's project, and currently I have 1 PhD student, 1 bachelor student, and a technician. About research in the laboratory, our main application is to use femtosecond frequency comb, which is a tool to count optical frequencies, and our work will be to improve optical frequency references based on rubidium atoms, tellurium molecules, iodine molecules, and on 2 mirror Fabry-Perot type resonators. And using frequency comb, we can compare optical standards with microwave standards like GPS, GLONASS satellite, time, rubidium microwave clocks. And one of applications which we did in Munich was to distribute optical frequencies over fiber. In Riga, because of astronomy community, we plan to distribute optical frequencies over free space. And femtosecond laser, it can be used also for distance ranging. Hopefully with improved precision, because we can hopefully determine better air dispersion with several colors. And another topic is about different sensors. As we shoot outside an atmosphere, we need to know if it's raining, if it's cloudy, and monitor air conditions over internet. Now some slide about femtosecond frequency comb. Before Professor Hensch mentioned, femtosecond lasers were already existing, and they were making periodic pulse trains. If you do Fourier transformation, you get frequency comb in optical spectrum. And if pulse train is regularly separated in time, then also these lines are regularly spaced in color spectrum. And the invention of Professor Hensch was how to stabilize that every pulse in femtosecond laser has the same phase properties. In the pulse electric field, it is actually what is making the pulse, and if electric field maximum shifts from one pulse to another pulse, we get so-called carrier envelope phase shift, and dividing it by time, one gets so-called offset frequency. These all frequency COM modes, they are offset from 0. And Professor Hensch, he devised a clever method how to stabilize this offset frequency. And it made a revolution in optical clocks. Suddenly it was possible to measure optical frequencies against radio frequencies in many laboratories around the world, not only in the national institutes having a lot of money, but also at normal universities. And this triggered revolution in optical frequency standards. Here is a plot, optical standards versus microwave standards, and around 2010 optical standards surpassed microwave standards in ticking accuracy. And currently optical clocks tick with 18 digits of precision. But the problem is that they do not work continuously 24 hours a day, and this is a technological problem which is being solved now. There is a project to send optical clocks into space, and when optical clocks can work around the clock of the day, then probably SI second will be redefined. Better clocks allow us to split second in smaller parts and, for example, send more information in 1 second, and also they could allow to improve satellite navigation precision. Here is a picture of femtosecond optical frequency COM in Riga. It's based on fiber laser at 1.5 microns, which is amplified using fiber amplifier, and the spectrum is broadened using photonic crystal fiber. Thanks to optical fiber laser technology, it needs very little adjustment. Basically, laser part is contained in a closed box, and we get frequency COM output, rainbow color, where we make a beat note with another laser which we want to measure. So frequency COM is a small part of the whole setup. To measure optical frequencies, we need to reference frequency COM to radio frequency clock. We use rubidium clock. This rubidium clock can drift with time, so we reference rubidium clock to GPS time. And on optical side, we measure optical frequency of diode laser with the nearest frequency COM line, and get interference beat note, which is in the radio frequency domain and can be counted with 1 Hz precision. Diode laser, it can be stabilized on 2-mirror resonator, often called Fabry-Perot cavity, and this cavity is good for short times, but it is aging with time. And for long-time stabilization, we use rubidium vapor. Now about some details. Outcome from the project: we have made resonator for laser stabilization, and we achieve around 1 kHz laser wavelength, laser spectral purity. And about this resonator, we have now submitted paper to Latvian Journal of Physics. About rubidium, we use well-known rubidium transition. and make saturation spectroscopy, which is Doppler free. And for test, we stabilize laser on the strongest peak of this transition. Then we observe beat node on radio frequency spectrum analyzer, and we count this beat node. And here is shown frequency comb equation, where n is integer number, large integer number, around 1 million, repetition rate, and then is offset frequency, and then is this beat node frequency which we measure. And repetition rate is known against rubidium clock. Offset frequency is also stabilized against rubidium clock, and beat node frequency, it's shown here, how it looks in time. We can calculate stability, and we get absolute stability of beat node around 11 digits, which is limited by radio frequency rubidium clock. About rubidium, we are going to publish conference proceedings in IGAS conference this summer. In July it will be in Riga, because Riga is now European capital this year. And if we want to measure optical transitions in rubidium precisely, it is not enough just to measure the peak frequency, but we need to fit with 6 peaks all these saturation spectroscopy lines, and only then we can extract correct information. Why rubidium? Okay, one more slide. This is about radio frequency, rubidium clock. Rubidium clock is aging. This manifests in such drift with time. Here we see 1 day of data, and we have compared 2 satellite time receivers. One was simple like used in mobile phones, and another was a more professional one. And we could see that both receivers, they behaved slightly differently. One was more jumping than the other one, and it was also measuring both GPS and GLONASS. So conclusion was that one needs to have several receivers probably. Every company makes slightly different these estimations. So what we can get out from these measurements was to calibrate rubidium clock within 100 nanoseconds. And our first measurements, they are to see that we can correctly measure optical frequencies, and that we get literature data that we close to literature data. Afterwards, we plan to measure saturation spectroscopy lines in tellurium molecules. Optical cells, they have been produced last year here in ASSI and tested with laser-induced fluorescence. When we bought these expensive laser things, we had really no place where to set up. So we had to do some cosmetic renovation, and after renovation, then students, they were happy to be in the nice clean laboratory. In ASSI, we have upgraded workshop. We have now 3D printer for plastics and CNC machine for aluminum, and also electronics prototyping place with surface mount components. The project has been successful, and we have written 3 publications in 2014, and 2015 we will have 4 publications. So how much time I have? No time. Yeah, so probably I will stop with this and thank European Union for possibility to come back to Latvia.